Thank you. Thank you. And when someone says we'll see, I feel like that's a no. It's like when you're younger and you want to sleep over with your cousin, you ask your parents and they say we'll see. That's a no. Again, I see a lot of people saying, we owe Monica's sister an apology. That is not true. I think her name's Nicole, but I feel like I just want to call her jealous sister. You know when someone's a good person, that makes them more attractive? I think that's what happened with Daniel and Taylor. Taylor was like, he's a good person. I'm starting to like his face a little bit more. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Selena, and today we are discussing Love is Blind Season 8, Episode 13, which is the weddings. There's a lot to unpack here. I will go in chronological order just because that's the way my notes are set up, but this is a very juicy episode. I feel like all of those yawns, episodes 1 through 6 in the pods, and then just watching people talk at each other to now this episode being the most juicy of them all. Shocked. I feel like there's a lot of wasted footage and a lot of wasted time, but so far, you know, I guess this kind of made up for it. So where we left off in episode 12, Sara and Ben were at the altar, and that's where it ends. In episode 13, we hear the answer. Sara gets asked first. I was wondering if Love is Blind wanted the brides to go first, because I feel like in Love is Blind Germany, all of the ladies were asked first. Spoiler alert, it's not just the ladies that get asked first. So, Sara said, Ben, I love you so much, and I've always wanted a partner to be on the same wavelength, so today I can't. Ben responded, and he was just like, I respect you, I love you, I would still like to date you if you let me. And then she says, we'll see. And when someone says we'll see, I feel like that's a no. It's like when you're younger and you want to sleep over with your cousin, you ask your parents and they say we'll see. That's a no. If you ask if we can go to McDonald's and they say, we'll see, that's a no. In my mind, it was just like, you know what? Sara doesn't want to date Ben after this. She's done. She wasted our time because she knew her values did not align with Ben's values since the pods. When she asked him about Black Lives Matter and LGBTQ+, she said, I don't like those answers. I know she felt her intuition. However, now she's claiming that she just wants Ben to be more curious about it. It's not like he has to stand strong in her values. However, he just did not have that curiosity. When she walks down the aisle, though, she's like, see me in the back. See me in the back. I'm fine. I promise I'm fine. See me in the back. I feel like she was holding back her emotions, and I can imagine that's super hard. She kept assuring her mom and her sister that she was fine. They kept saying it's okay to be sad. After that, we see Ben and his friends in a circle. Ben says, I thought we were on the same page. I'm confused. And then they end up praying for Ben and then praying for Sara. I thought it was cool that they prayed for Sara. We did see Molly and Lauren at the wedding, which was cool. I like it when pod people go to each other's weddings. I feel like it's a nice added support. And you can see who actually gets along behind the scenes or who's super close. Also, too, I don't know if this is new, but there were a lot of couches in the Love is Blind ceremonies. That's nice. Tell me what you think about that. Do you think that couches should be part of a wedding ceremony? Because that looks super comfortable. Imagine all of the people who need that extra room, that extra cushion, that extra back support. So yeah, I like that. There were a lot of couches in these wedding ceremonies this episode. Sara is in the car with her mom and her sister because the way the venue is set up, they drive the bride and the groom separately to the ceremony. It just seems like a long walk, so you know how some venues do that, I guess. So Sara is in the car with her mom and her sister saying, you know, I asked him about Black Lives Matter and he had no opinion on it. It was in our city. It was in our state. And he had no opinion on it. And you know what's interesting? Y'all already know how I feel about Sara and her performative activism. That's the only time she brings up Black Lives Matter after the pods. I don't know if it's the editing or not, but we just see her talk about LGBTQ+ the whole time, and now she brings up Black Lives Matter. And the fact that she said it was in our state and he still has no opinion on it, that didn't sit right with me. Like, I can see what she's saying, like, it happened in your community and you still have no opinion on it. However, I feel like that's the only justification she has, because it seems like if it wasn't in Sara's state, she'd have no opinion on it. And you could argue and say that she only has an opinion about LGBTQ plus because her sister is in that community. However, it's still performative to me, to be honest. What if Ben was in agreement to Sara's values? Would she still marry him? Who knows? I feel like she wanted that screen time to continue to say her performative activism things. Not to mention, just as a woman, this man told you who he was in the pods. He stays out of things, and he doesn't remember things. So, anyways, I was not surprised at this wedding ceremony. In Sara's confessional, she did say that she didn't want to continue the cycle of values getting in the way of the relationship, so she still kind of doesn't know if they're going to date, and she kind of left it at that. She also mentioned that she talked to Ben about the vaccine, and we did not see that footage unless it was off camera, but I would be curious to see what he had to say about that conversation. Is he gonna say he has no opinion on it? Now we get to Monica and Joey. I'm very surprised and I'm very disappointed. We start out with Monica and she's getting ready, and she has her jealous sister and her best friend and her mom and a guy too, so one of her close guy friends. They're all getting ready in Monica's area. Monica asked if they've ever imagined her getting married, and immediately her jealous sister said, "No, you've always just said you're a lone wolf, and now I'm at your wedding."
Did you guys ever imagine me getting married?
No.
Yeah, I have.
You've always just said you're a lone wolf.
Yeah.
And now I'm at your damn wedding.
I know.
Whether you're kidding or not, and then also knowing that this moment is filmed, it's your sister's wedding day. I feel like if you have any type of kidding going around like that, or maybe your relationship is that passive aggressive, I just feel like that's not appropriate. I feel like some people are saying, oh, I owe Monica's sister an apology. Two things can be true at once. We're gonna get to that. But I did not like the way Monica's sister responded to Monica's question immediately. Like, Monica couldn't even finish her sentence if her family and friends could imagine her getting married. Which is like, really? We already know that you felt like you should get married before Monica because you're older, whatever. Then it seemed like they were kind of asking Monica if she's concerned about the wedding, and she was talking about the differences between her and Joey. She mentioned that she's a bit more emotional, more affectionate than Joey is. I feel like she described him as pretty stoic. And once we see Monica explain the difference between her and Joey, you can tell her sister is loving it because she's hearing some challenges that are going on in Monica's life.
He's very analytical.
Yeah.
And he's not a very emotional person.
Is he good at reassuring you with his lack of emotion? You know, that would be so hard for me.
So it's a little uncomfortable for me to just really trust in his words rather than seeing his emotion.
It is so crazy to me. I don't know. I just would not want that energy around me. And it's hard because it seems like they are kind of close. It seems like they talk often. I mean, I think they live together still with their parents. Monica and her sister see each other often. I think her name's Nicole, but I feel like I just want to call her jealous sister. Monica's jealous sister does bring up that she feels like Monica doesn't read people well and she doesn't know how to judge people well. Remember when Joey met Monica's family? We saw a confessional where Monica's jealous sister said, "I read people really well." Most of the time, in my personal opinion, when people say that, they don't. 99% of the time, they're actually a really mean person. I feel like you can still read people well, but if you're the type to brag about it, I feel like that's where it's just like you have a self-fulfilling prophecy, and or you're just saying stuff to turn people against someone else. Because I feel like the jealous sister really did cause some turmoil between Monica and Joey. Note that for later, okay? Monica's sister is saying how Monica brought some questionable people to the house back in high school. So Monica was like, what? I am a good judge of character, and that was 15 years ago. Monica's almost 30. If you're judging Monica based off of who she brought home as a teenager, what does that say about you? And plus, Monica's sister is 5 years older than Monica. So it was definitely a reach, and it was very frustrating.
I think he's a really great guy. I think he has good intentions in life. I still question like if you can read people.
I'm very good at reading people.
But I think back in high school, it's like you brought some questionable people over.
Okay, it's high school, okay? It's high school. That was like 15 years ago?
I know.
Again, I see a lot of people saying, we owe Monica's sister an apology. That is not true. I bet Monica's sister is super happy too that it didn't work out with Monica and Joey. And you know what? That's not cool. I also bet Monica's sister is jealous of the attention Monica has been getting. Not only do you get a platform if you are on one of these shows, but you also get brand deals, sponsorship, a following, followers, support. I'm sure Monica's sister is getting some backlash as well, which makes her even more mad at Monica. I just know she is. Something I noticed too, you can tell the difference between Monica's sister and Monica's friend. I think Monica's friend is Phoebe. And this sister, she says her whole jealous stuff and she's like, I just want you happy, whatever. But Monica's friend is like, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of where you've come. You've come a long way. You know, this is your day. I really want you to be happy. There was a difference in the delivery of wishing Monica good luck on her wedding day from her sister and her best friend. Monica did say when they were getting ready that most of her relationships were physical first, and her and Joey didn't put emphasis on that. We learned from the honeymoon that they've hung out, which I think they've done everything but penetration if I had to guess. But or just a limited amount of time being intimate. I saw some people on TikTok saying that's a red flag. I don't think so necessarily. If a couple doesn't want to be intimate before getting married, they don't necessarily have to. When you note that with the lack of other things that Monica said she was lacking, like him telling Monica, I'm 100% gonna put my effort into this, putting his hand on her leg when she says that's something that she wants in a relationship. When you note all of those things, it does kind of start to make sense with what Monica is saying, that they're not putting emphasis on the physical stuff. It's not just the intimacy of sex. Do y'all remember the trailer when Joey's family or friends and they said, oh, I'm surprised, he normally goes for blondes? I wanted to see that footage and we did not see that. That was just like season 7 when we saw Ramses say some stuff about wanting to be intimate with someone. So I was wondering about that. We didn't see Monica meet Joey's friends and family. When we see Joey and him getting ready with his family and friends, Joey's mom speaks so highly of Monica, so that tells us that she met Joey's family and we didn't get to see that footage already. I feel like you can tell that Joey is uncomfortable when it comes to feelings and maybe being vulnerable. I think that Joey's mom was trying to say really nice stuff. You know, that's typically how it goes, and then the child cries. I think Joey looked really uncomfortable, but that doesn't mean that he should have cried. I think it was probably something that he doesn't hear often, or he's not comfortable in receiving that information. But note that for later. Before Monica walks down the aisle, there is a confessional and she says, I want to think I'm not basing my decision off of Joey's decision, but I think I am. I feel like she just told us what she's gonna do because she thinks that Joey's not 100% in. Me as a viewer, I'm gonna say, okay, he's gonna say no. Okay, so you're gonna say no. Monica's vows were edited to seem like they were 2 sentences, and then Joey basically said he wouldn't want to do this experience with anyone else. That does not sound like a real vow. There was no I love yous, and there was no you are such an amazing person that have impacted my life. It was more so you're amazing and I wouldn't have wanted to do this experience with anyone else. I've learned so much about myself. That was pretty much it. Then we get to the answers and Monica gets asked first and she says she doesn't right now. So when she said right now, that tells us that she wants to continue the relationship. Joey immediately goes in and hugs her and he's like, it's okay. I agree. It's okay. He's telling us that he would say no as well. Keep in mind that he does have a sister that had passed away. He mentioned in the pods that she had cerebral palsy and he left a wheelchair out for his sister, which was really sweet. So she'd have a seat at the wedding. Whoa. Back up. I forgot that Joey was throwing around the football in his getting ready area and just laughing, and his friends would ask him questions like, you know, you think Monica would be down for this? You think Monica would be down for that? How does she feel about this? And Joey would ask, what do you think? Do you think she would? He wouldn't say, oh, I know my sweet Monica would, or anything like that. So I thought that was interesting. It did seem like bro time. It was kind of giving bachelor party. like just hanging out with the bros, throwing a football around. Joey longboards down the aisle as well. So part of that, it could be just because he likes Hawaiian shirts and he has the long hair and, you know, he does this. I'm not trying to stereotype, but it could just be that free-flowing spirit. But I think there was an element of unseriousness there, because this is a wedding, you're making a big decision. It was a nice breakup in a way. This was the best case of no's at the altar. They both hug each other and they walk down the aisle holding hands, and I thought that was sweet. Joey mentions how he's grateful everyone came. He learned a lot from his sister, just to cherish every moment, and we hope you guys will do the same. And then they leave. And then we see the confessionals. Joey mentions how Monica said I love you in her vows, but that was the first time that she's ever said I love you to him. Joey also mentions how the jealous sister got in the way. He says, I think Monica said no because the family dynamic with her sister was an inhibiting factor for us. I think to some extent you can be weary about the relationship because if you marry the person, you're marrying the family. But that one sister, and that's why you are saying no, that doesn't make sense to me. I don't know what the sister was doing or not doing behind closed doors. Maybe she was, you know, going off on Joey or something. It was clear that the parents loved Joey. It was clear that he was accepted by Monica's ex-boo that her jealous sister is dating. I don't know. I know that was an inhibiting factor for them, but it doesn't feel like that should be a reason to not marry, even though they had a very small time frame. I was curious on why Monica didn't say I love you until the altar. I guess we'll see. Monica was clearly hurt. She was crying a lot, and you could tell she really wanted to be married. So, I don't know. It seems like they're gonna be friends after this. So we'll see at the reunion what happens. I really want to know what happened after that day. It did seem like Joey was a little bit checked out. Not gonna lie. Alright. Now we have Devin and Virginia. We see Virginia and she feels strong about her connection with Devin. She's getting ready. Of course she looks beautiful. She's so gorgeous. She has her family come in, so it's her mom and her best friends. We also see Devin's mom come into Virginia's getting ready room. And Devin's mom is over the moon. She is so ready to have her son married. She's so ready to have another daughter in the family. And she just mentions how she's so grateful and that Virginia looks great and it's just gonna be a happy day. It looks like Devin's mom and Virginia's mom meet for the first time. They're wearing matching dresses, which is really cute. We see Devin getting ready and he has a cute moment with his niece, picking her up. It also seems like he's met Virginia's dad already and it seemed like it went really well. I guess we didn't see that footage. Virginia's aunt is actually the wedding officiant, which I loved. I feel like that's the first time we've seen that in Love is Blind history, seeing a family member or a close friend be the officiant. I thought that was really cool. It did seem like Virginia is close with her aunt. I also loved Virginia's getting ready scene the most out of all of the getting ready scenes in Love is Blind for the weddings. Her family is so supportive and her friends are so supportive. There was no drama. It was really just about, hey Virginia, good luck. I'm praying for you. You got this. No matter what happens, you got this. You know, just follow your heart. That was pretty much it. They didn't really ask her, or we didn't get to see what's wrong with Devin. Do you have any reservations about Devin? None of that. And it was more so just really happy. I mean, even though we're watching this from a screen, this is someone's wedding day. We're watching it through a screen and it's messy, but it was really sweet to see that support. So Virginia looks amazing and her dad is walking her down the aisle and she's so beautiful. She's smiling and then she starts to cry. I think Devin's actually a little bit teary-eyed. They say their vows, and Devin actually gets asked first if he says, I do. Devin says, I do. And like everyone's happy and nodding their heads. And then it's Virginia's turn. She says she's just not ready right now. And her tears were pouring down. And Devin was fake crying. He was crying and there was no tears coming out. That really bothers me, but you could tell he was like going like this twice. He's and he acted like he was so upset.
What?
Listen, I'm not saying this man is not upset. However, it seemed like he was trying to make cry noises to emulate that he was crying, but he wasn't. And clearly Virginia was, like the tears were just coming down. I didn't like the comment that his sister made, Devin's sister. She was like, I don't understand these girls. What do you mean these girls? Virginia is educated, she's smart, she's beautiful, she has a life going for herself. She can dance, she protects her finances, her assets, she's financially literate. She's also really kind and sweet. So it was just really frustrating because that sentence alone that the sister said, I don't understand these girls, she really doesn't know her brother at this point, and I feel like she also only knows what Devin tells her, and it seems like they take Devin's word for everything. I feel like there's a sense of being honest with your family member. He spends $700 on shoes, and he's hesitant about a prenup. That doesn't make any sense to me. It was also sad because Devin's niece was like, what's going on? And then Devin's dad was like, she said no. So you could also hear the hurt in the niece's emotions. It's kind of sad to see. Once Virginia did leave the ceremony, Devin does start to cry a little bit, like legit cry this time, and we do see him hug Virginia's dad, which was really sweet. Virginia's dad and mom were very confused, and they really thought she was going to say yes. I thought Virginia was going to say yes with just how nice she was speaking of Devin, like saying he was the nicest man she's ever dated, he's an incredible man. When Virginia's dad is hugging Devin, he says, I'm sorry, son. I didn't expect this, but you're a great man. And that was really nice. Then we hear some information about why Virginia said no. And this is crazy. Virginia also mentions how she wants to protect Devin. And I feel like she is just a very good person where she doesn't want to seem like she's throwing him under the bus, but she also has to explain a little bit of why she said no, because it's a reality show. The producers are going to ask, and we're watching their story. And I think she knows that Devin's going to get a lot of backlash. However, she mentioned that they had different political views. She also mentioned that that's not the issue. The issue is how he handled it, because he didn't want to talk about it on or off camera. They have really opposing views. Virginia also mentions that she ran into Devin's mom at one of the basketball games. Devin's mom says, have you gotten that check yet? This was news to her. Virginia had no idea about that check as a wedding present. She was waiting for Devin to ring it up. That was like 5 days before their wedding. Honestly, if it were me, I would have said something too, especially because there's wedding expenses that happen 5 days before the day of. That could have been money that's deposited for any type of necessity or need. Even just snacks on your wedding day. I don't know. But that was a gift for both of you, and I feel like Virginia should have known. So Virginia said she had no idea, and she was waiting for Devin to say something, which is really smart. She was waiting for Devin to say something, and he never did. I think people are questioning, why would you even go to the altar if you said no? Number one, that's the premise of the show. But number two, I feel like she was gathering information and trying to see anything she could because of the short timeline, and that would help her get her answer on whether she should say yes or no. I think she was worried about the finances in general because he was hesitant to sign that prenup. She saw all the shoes. One of the pairs of shoes was $700. Devin receiving a check and her seeing how he would handle that if he would tell her about the gift for them was the perfect formula to see what's the solution on what she should say at her wedding. I think Devin wanted new shoes for his wedding. He wanted new shoes before he said I do. And I think that's crazy to steal wedding money. And also to find out from the mom is even crazier. There's something going on. Is he a mama's boy and I don't know. Virginia said that whole situation with the check made her not trust him as much anymore, and she doesn't regret her decision. And I fully agree with that, especially the values thing. Okay, lastly, and this won't be as long, but Taylor and Daniel, it's clear that they haven't had sex yet. Daniel was keeping it PG. He said they were waiting. Taylor's dad is there. It's very emotional because Taylor acknowledges that not everyone gets to have parents at their wedding, and that was a really sweet moment for her, especially knowing that her dad is sick and he gets to see his daughter get married, which was really heartwarming. I forgot to mention, another heartwarming moment was when Monica's mom saw Monica already. I got teared up a little bit because it was just so sweet to see the mom look at her daughter. Back to Taylor and Daniel. So they haven't had sex yet. That's my first bullet point. Daniel's sister His sister, who he said has been blind or was born blind, she was singing while Taylor was walking down the aisle, which was really sweet. She was good too. She was singing and playing the piano, and I just feel like that alone tells you that it's gonna be a yes. There was also bridesmaids and groomsmen there. I feel like during Love is Blind weddings, we don't see that. This wedding was clearly a yes. I'm so glad it worked out. I think that whole Instagram drama was annoying, but I guess they needed some type of drama. I really do think that she did not like what she saw during the reveal, kind of made something up. I think the actions that Daniel does outweighs that. And you know when like, you know when someone's a good person, that makes them more attractive? I think that's what happened with Daniel and Taylor. Taylor was like, he's a good person. I'm starting to like his face a little bit more. These were the best vows out of all of the couples. Daniel had a whole letter, and we haven't seen that in a while. Like, really thought out words. Taylor also had really good vows too, saying that their souls have known each other for a long time. And Daniel even went off of his letter. He was reading from the letter and he was like, this is not what I wrote, but I feel it. And then he said more of his vows. So it was just very sweet. They asked Taylor and she says, I do. And Daniel's parents light up and it was so cute. And then Daniel says yes, and they live happily ever after. They say they're going to consummate the marriage tonight. They call it Operation Consummation, and they know they're going to get it. So good for them. Yeah. Now we get to a couple more confessionals, and we see Joey. He said he doesn't have any specific anticipation to have a future with Monica. He says his motto is live to love, love living, and never regret. And he learned that from his sister, who was unable to say a single word. I really liked that quote. I do feel weird about this whole ending with Joey and Monica. I feel like we need a little bit more. Maybe it's just that Joey's not good with being vulnerable and with his emotions, but we'll see. And lastly, we see Virginia, and she says that she normally doesn't put herself first in relationships, but she's starting to today, and she's going to moving forward. And I thought that was awesome. I think a lot of people were making fun of her for her voice, especially during the reveal where she had her head tilted and she said, thank you. Thank you. But come on, we all know that we have a little bit of a different voice with someone that we like or we love. But I did see someone on TikTok comment that Virginia found her voice, and I thought that was awesome, like a full circle moment. Anyways, what did y'all think of this episode? Were your predictions right about the weddings? I was totally wrong about Monica and Joey. I was right about Sara and Ben. We knew she was going to slide in her core values somewhere in there. I was right about Taylor and Daniel, but Joey and Monica threw me for a loop, and now I'm questioning myself. So, I am so ready for this reunion. Let me know what your predictions were and what kind of tea do you want to hear at the reunion. I really hope that Dave's sister is there. Please, Dave, bring your mysterious sister. We have some questions for her. But yeah, let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. Like, share, subscribe. If you don't, I just appreciate you being here. And I will see y'all in my next video. Bye!